Hey, I'm just wondering about Mr. Nate Roberts. Obviously, he leads you guys in rebounding. He's one of the Pac-12 leaders in rebounding. Just how, if you could talk about his importance on your team, considering your thinness there on the front line.
He brings a ton of energy. He's our best offensive rebounder. Gets a lot of extra possessions, and he's he's one of the leaders on the team. And so when you lose him, you don't have that leadership on the court, and we've got to do a better job protecting him. We've been doing a little bit of more of a matchup at some points where he gets in one-on-one situations, and we've got to do a better job, figuring out how we can help him. So we put him at less chances of getting stupid fouls that get him on the bench. And then he's got to be more disciplined in his approach and, play the most disciplined type of defense he can without fouling, for sure.
So then, if you could sort of take me through like the calculus that you have to make, like the quick math or calculations, when like he gets into the early foul trouble like he did on Sunday, how do you weigh that?
Well, we've been playing him or Raley, having him or Raley in the game. We've with our new adjustments, and we just wanted to have a big guy in the game at some point. And the thing with being so early in foul trouble, the calculation becomes, you play Raley, you can't play Nate the rest of the half, and then Raley can't play for a long burst. He's not, he's a big kid, and we put Hamir in there, and then we were just really, really susceptible and small, and he was playing with a messed up thumb, and you just, you're put at a disadvantage. And so we need to protect Nate. We need to have him in the game. He needs to play at least, 20, 25 minutes a game. And that's where, we can have Raley in for those 10 or 15 minutes. We got our big guy in there. They know what we do defensively, offensively. They got rhythm, they got confidence, and that's what we've been doing. But it's a hard calculation, Percy, for sure. It didn't happen in the first couple games, but we just got to figure it out, and he's got to be better.
And I think just then for Thursday, as you face Oregon State, they've also got a pretty good rebounder. They also play some zone there. So do you think having seen some zone on Sunday is going to help you on Thursday?
I sure hope so. We after watching tape, we weren't as bad as I thought we were against the zone. There was some really good possessions. There just needs to be more consistent. When we got in the middle, we found the shooters, and there was some decent parts there. The parts that were struggling are, like you said, Oregon State's got one of the best offensive rebounders in the country, and Alatisha, and we've got to do a better job. That's just a big focus on what we have to do, and so very similar to the last game, we got a defensive rebound and we can't put them on the foul line. That's going to be a non-negotiable.
Awesome, Mike. Thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
All right, Percy. Thank you.
Lauren, go ahead, Lauren.
Hey, Hop. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You've talked about the struggles with the interior defense. When you look at your interior defense, what are the concerns that kind of jump out to you?
Oh, geez. Experience, foul trouble. You're learning, positional stuff. We just got to be better. There's got to be some type of resistance. The last 3 years, I think in our league, we were number 1, 2, or 3 in 2-point field goal percentage defense in the paint. And this year, I think we're last. And that's a huge part. And that's also instincts and feel. And, Nate's playing his first major minutes in a long time. Raley, they've been here, but those actual minutes and understanding, okay, is it a guard who gets it? Is it a big guy who gets it in a high post? And then understanding tendencies. That's something that you can only get with experience. And we try to rep it and emulate it every day in practice. And then you get in the game and, you got to defend without fouling, and that's hard in a lot of different situations. So we've been trying to find ways where we can help them, protect them, how they can be proactive. And then others, you're just going to be susceptible to some things that we don't want to happen, with them, trying to keep them out of foul trouble. But we've got to try it.
Then with this team having gone through a lengthy losing streak, how important is it now in this situation to kind of learn how to bounce back from a loss here?
Well, we've learned. I thought we've had some great moments bouncing back. Our biggest issue is, early on it was finishing a couple of those games. The Montana game and the Oregon game where we put ourselves in position to win. We started winning those close games against Colorado and Utah, and we've proven that we've had it. We've just got to be consistent with it. And I think the biggest thing with this team is just, you got to have a short-term memory. I mean, we're going to go down and today in practice and go over some, clean up some stuff where we had some slippage and, get them refocused and ready to play against Oregon State. And you can't wallow in the past. You just got to go forward and get better and, prepare for the next opponent. And that's what we're going to do.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris Fetters, go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Hop, good to see you.
Nice to see you too, Chris.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up a little on Lauren, the short-term memory thing. Clearly, you guys have worked on that, but I wanted to follow up on the things we talked about on Sunday in terms of you talked about always having to bring the fight, having heart. You got to always have those things. I understand that can change in the beginning of the season when you're working on chemistry and whatnot, but how do you work on that and address that in the middle of the season?
It's hard. You got to compete in practice. That's how you're going to know if you're going to do it. You just got to compete, and we've, it's real interesting. It's just such a mindset thing. And, certain guys, we've had great practices and we've come out in games since I've been here and have been awful. And we've had awful practices and we came out and we played our best game that we've played. Actually the best game that we've ever played here. We had one of the worst practices ever, and it's the mindset, and they've got to go out there and understand, that the mindset that we had against Colorado or Utah, where even if we got down, we had poise and we executed and we made sure we battled on the glass on every possession. And especially in this last game, we got really small and they went big. And we've got to box out better. We've got to put bodies on better. We've got to go with rebounds with two hands, basic fundamental stuff. And sometimes in life, the ball just doesn't bounce your way. Sometimes you go in, I was a player. Sometimes I went into a game and boy, I felt like I just couldn't hit the darn rim. It seemed like everything, we finally hit a three and we step on the sideline out of bounds. We dribble off our leg. Like just sometimes that happens. But what we can't do is we can't sit there and feel sorry for ourselves or whatnot. You just, we're going to learn a lot about ourselves today in terms of competitiveness. It's all how you respond. And that's what we'll be challenging today in practice. That's what we'll be doing the rest of the year, which we do anyway. And we've just, just got to keep getting up. Rocky Balboa.
And you talked a little bit about, rebounding being a focus, not fouling being a focus against Oregon State. What else have you seen from this team, this Oregon State team, that's kind of maybe representative of a typical Coach Tinkle team and things that you think we should focus on?
They don't turn it over. They're very good. They manage the game. They've got a star player in Ethan Thompson, who is a go-to guy for them. They've got great shooting. And then they've got really good athletic. They're more athletic than they've been in the front line. Those pose problems. But if you look at them, they're a really good 3-point shooting team, and they're going to go to the offensive glass. That's they don't shoot a great percentage, but that's how they score a majority of their points is from the 3-point line. And they're also good foul shooters, and they've got one of the best offensive rebounders. So they're telling you how they're going to play. Now we're going to have to be able to take away the 3-point shooters, which we've done a decent job at. And then when we do that, we're going to have to rebound. And, teams will watch in our last game in terms of how they beat us, and that's what they're going to do. And we're going to have some resistance against that. We're going to have to be tougher. We'll train it today in the next couple of days, and, hopefully we can go out there and execute.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Dan Raley, go ahead, Dan.
Mike, I was just curious, your former players, Jalen Noel, Jaden McDaniels, and Isaiah Stewart have all made big moves lately in their pro careers to get into rotations. Are you following their progress? And I guess a question I would have, if you had just one of those guys, could you imagine the difference it might make?
Well, all those guys are just special. Matisse Thybulle's special. it's, gosh, they're just, I do follow them. I don't watch a lot of the games. You're immersed in what we're doing. I hear the coaches or our players talk about, Jalen had 12 or 14 points the other night. Jade McDaniels has been in the rotation. Isaiah Stewart, I saw the face-to-face with Giannis. My son came home, my 16-year-old, and said, Dad, look at Isaiah. He's face-to-face with the Greek freak, and he didn't back down, Dad. He didn't back down. Oh, I love Isaiah, and you're watching Jaden, then you're following Matisse, and gosh, any of those guys would, you'd take them all. And I like our guys. We're just, we've had moments. We've got some good players, and we just need to, you got to put it all together in a consistent part every day. But gosh, any of those guys you would take in a heartbeat. If I was I Dream of Jeannie, you go, whatever she did, and then it would appear. I'm excited about getting better today and having a great practice and getting ready for Oregon State for sure.
Hey, Hop, thanks for the time.
Yeah, Andy.
So I just wanted to know if there was any updates on Hamir's status before Oregon State.
He obviously he was his thumb. He's been getting treatment. He got treatment yesterday a couple of times. We had a day off, so we'll see how it is today.
Awesome.
But no updates. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Gotcha. And then another thing, against Wazoo, it seemed like one of those games where Quade was really trying to force things and make things happen. What do you talk to him about after games like that to try and get him, back in the right headspace and everything?
I think the biggest thing is just being poised. Sometimes, he does it in the, for the betterment or thinking of the betterment of the team. And, we'll show some film today where, when we got in the paint, when we kicked out and found the shooters, we had some great success. And when we tried to force it a little bit too much in there and take some tough shots, we didn't. And, the game is contagious. And once there's a bad shot or a force, usually there's another one. And then there might be a breakdown down here. And then just like when we were down 12-2, we took the lead in about how many possessions, 3 or 4, just off of getting in, kicking it out, finding the guys, having a rhythm. When it seems like when you play like that, there's a better rhythm. It seems like the ball goes in. It seems like it's, there's more happiness in the air. And I think the biggest thing to Quade is just keep watching tape with him and stressing the fact that, we obviously need you to score, but we also need you to find guys. And he's had great moments, but like any player, sometimes they just think they got to do it themselves. And, knowing that he knows he has some really good players around him and has to trust them as well as they trust him.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome, Andy.
Kim Reynolds, go ahead, Kim.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask you about the Washington State game where you got down, you mentioned like 10, 12 points, and then it was almost like you hit a boost button or the caffeine kicked in or something. You actually came back to take the lead. What caused the energy to go? And then, it just seemed like shortly after that, it just went the opposite way and got turned off. Can you explain that shift a little bit?
Well, I think a little bit, like we had, the energy in the ball moved. They put the zone on us, and that kind of hurt us in the sense of from rhythm, from a different shot. And we got a couple really good shots. We just didn't knock them down. And what we weren't doing that they were doing when we had 4 perimeter guys in there is we weren't getting the offensive glass where they were getting some second chance points. I think in the first half, Kim, when we came back, it was really good ball movement, guys being in the right spots and guys sharing the ball, as well as we got some stops to be able to get down there and do that. That's 3 or 4 stops in a row, and that's what we have to be able to do. If you look at the numbers in the first half, we held them to 41% from the field. I don't even know if they made a 3 in the first half. They just got, off a couple bad possessions. We turned it over twice where they got layups. We got stolen once and they got a layup. So they got 6 points off that, and they went to the foul line. That's, and that was off of hustle plays, offensive rebounding, second chance points. That's just what it was. And so I'm sorry for rambling, but that was a long answer, Kim. Geez, I'm like, ugh.
Hey, just also, Eric had really come on in his shooting, and it looked like Washington State. Did they really shut him down, or did he just have an off shooting night, or is he getting more attention?
I think, you know what, like what happens is in basketball, it's like anything. The game is always evolving and the scouting report is always changing. And if you watched us now, we were shooting hot from the 3-point line. We were scoring against man-to-mans. We had great rhythm, and you go zone, team goes zone, and it's a little bit different of a rhythm of a shot. And we just, Eric's a great shooter. He's going to keep playing really, really well. He just had an off night for sure.